Welcome back to another explainer for the Let's Scouting channel. Today we're diving into some century-old, but honestly incredibly timeless wisdom from Lord Baden-Powell's Campfire Yarn number 19. It's all about keeping a scout healthy, strong, and entirely ready for action. We're going to look at how disease prevention and physical discipline were taught over 100 years ago and why those lessons still ring remarkably true today.
We're following the Prepared Scout arc today, hitting 5 main points: the invisible enemy, the dangers of spitting, fresh air and clothing, perfect posture, S versus I, and finally, troop formations and signals.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the invisible enemy.
So the text starts with this pretty incredible story from Baden-Powell's time in Kashmir. He comes across a villager in absolute agony with a dislocated shoulder and actually manages to treat him. The yarn says Baden-Powell laid the guy flat on his back, literally took off his own right shoe, stuck his heel right into the man's armpit for leverage, and pulled the arm until, pop, the shoulder was back in place. It's a bit of aggressive first aid, sure, but it completely earned in the absolute trust of the locals.
And because they trusted him as this healer, he used that authority to teach them about something super important for public health: microbes. He explained these as tiny, completely invisible organisms hanging out in the air, the water, and crucially, in our food if it isn't handled correctly. The big warning here: these germs are just waiting to attack if your blood and your body aren't robust enough to fight them off.
So, where exactly are these microscopic enemies hiding out? Well, they absolutely love dark, damp places, dirty environments, filthy drains, old dustbins, and rotting waste. Basically, anywhere dirt accumulates, microbes are having a field day. And this is exactly why keeping your camp, your clothes, and your body squeaky clean isn't just about looking good. For a scout, it is quite literally your first line of defense. Get rid of the breeding ground, and you completely eliminate the threat.
Moving right along to Section 2, the dangers of spitting.
This part of the text gives us a very specific and honestly still super relevant public health warning about the severe danger of public spitting. When someone with diseased lungs spits, they are literally launching tuberculosis or TB germs straight into the air. Those invisible microbes just float around waiting for healthy people to unknowingly breathe them in. It's a really stark reminder that spitting isn't just a gross habit, you're actively putting healthy folks around you at risk.
So how are you supposed to protect yourself if you're, say, walking through a crowded area? The manual strictly advises scouts to always breathe through their nose instead of their mouth. Your nose is basically a built-in natural filter against disease. If you're mouth breathing, you are completely bypassing that filter and just rolling out the red carpet for those airborne germs right into your lungs. It's a simple biological defense mechanism, but every scout needs to practice it.
That brings us to Section 3, fresh air and clothing.
You see, battling germs isn't just about what you avoid. It's about what you actively do. Baden-Powell insists that your living spaces and your clothes have to be kept totally clean, dry, and exposed to pure sunlight and fresh air. Sunshine and fresh air are like kryptonite to those dark, damp environments where disease loves to thrive. If a room has a foul odor, consider that a massive red flag. Throw open the windows, let the sun pour in, and try to sleep out in the fresh air whenever you can to let nature sanitize your space.
And we absolutely cannot talk about health without talking about a scout's primary mode of transportation: your feet. This step-by-step foot care routine is a total game changer for hikers. You need to wash your feet daily, dry them thoroughly, and never ever hike in wet socks. To take it a step further, Baden-Powell recommended applying a specific powder mix of equal parts boric acid, starch, and zinc oxide. This historical remedy kept the skin from getting painfully soft and blistered on long treks. Bottom line, take care of your feet, and they'll take care of you.
All right, Section 4, perfect posture, S versus I.
Now that we've covered internal health and hygiene, let's look at how a scout actually carries themselves physically. The manual gives us this brilliant visual contrast between a weak sloucher and a strong, upright scout. You can instantly see the difference in energy, confidence, and just overall health simply by looking at them side by side.
The text breaks this down into the S posture and the I posture. The sloucher, the S, is doing some serious damage, dangerously compressing their lungs and internal organs. Because they're hunched over, their stomach gets totally squished, which ruins digestion, and their lungs literally can't expand, meaning terrible oxygen flow. But then you have the I posture. That straight, upright scout alignment keeps the heart, lungs, and stomach exactly where they should be for maximum strength, deep breathing, and total vitality.
So, I want you to take a second and evaluate your own stance right now as you're listening to this explainer. Seriously, do a quick posture check. Are you crushing your internal organs like the sloucher, forming an S? Or are you sitting or standing tall, breathing deeply, ready for action like an I? Good posture isn't just about looking sharp. It is fundamentally about your internal health.
Finally, we zoom out for Section 5, troop formations and signals.
Now we're looking at how that healthy, upright individual actually functions as part of a collective unit. The text emphasizes that troop formations aren't just for looking good on a parade ground. Moving a patrol swiftly, silently, and in an orderly manner builds an incredibly agile and responsive group. It actually maintains lung and heart health through continuous, disciplined movement. And most importantly, it stamps out those sloppy, chaotic group habits that can dangerously slow you down when an emergency hits.
Which begs a pretty serious question for anyone involved in scouting, or honestly, any team effort. Does your patrol move like a well-oiled machine or a chaotic crowd? Think back on your own experiences. Are you using crisp, silent signals and tight formations to move efficiently? Or do you just kind of succumb to loud, exhausting disorganization and aimless wandering?
As the yarn wisely points out, quote, "A scout should know how to move the troop or patrol from one place to another accurately and in good order. Mastering these group movements basically ensures that all the health, the upright posture, and the personal discipline you've built up can now serve the entire troop. You go from just managing yourself to becoming a highly functional, reliable asset for the whole team."
And that brings us to the ultimate takeaway from Campfire Yarn 19. A healthy scout is always prepared to serve. Baden-Powell makes a really blunt point here. If you fall sick simply because of your own carelessness, you instantly become a burden to others. But if you apply these century-old lessons, fighting off microbes, mastering your posture, locking in that troop discipline, you ensure that you're always an asset. So I'll leave you with this. If an emergency struck right at this very moment, is your mind and body sharp enough to serve, or would you be the one needing a rescue? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we'll catch you on the next one.